Hey you guys, Broke Girl Media right here. I know I said I was going to make a video soon. Sorry wasn't sooner than right now, but this is as soon as I have been able to. We're going to talk about something that has gone viral on the internet. I know a lot of people know about the whistleblower, the nurse that basically said that there are hysterectomies on immigrant women happening right now. And I'm going to read through this article. The complaint condemns the practices and conditions at the private Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia. It is based on the allegations of a whistleblower, a nurse identified as Dawn Wooden. She worked at the center, which houses immigrants detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement's ICE. As part of her complaint filed on Monday, Ms. Wooden expressed concerns about... As part of her complaint filed on Monday, Ms. Wooden expressed concerns about the high number of hysterectomies performed on Spanish-speaking women at the center. So what I have read online is basically a lot of people saying that many of the women that are getting these procedures done on them don't even speak English, and they're not fully aware of what they're signing up for, in a sense. So they're manipulated into signing these contracts that basically allows these doctors to do hysterectomies that are not even necessary. They don't need them, basically. And so it continues by saying, the nurse that detained women told her they did not fully understand why they had to get a hysterectomy, an operation involving the removal of all or part of the uterus. The complaints also alleges jarring medical neglect during the coronavirus pandemic, including a refusal to test detainees with symptoms and fabricating medical records. Quote, Ms. Wooden says, "I became a whistleblower. Now I am a..." Thanks to Ms. Wooden for revealing this information. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known. Today, I've spent a few hours trying to get an accurate number of deaths that have happened in these ICE facilities, and it's been very difficult. I have read about different numbers, like 23 so far in 2020, 24. When I went to the ICE detention facilities website, I think this one right here, I only see about 13 of them for 2020. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. So it's kind of like, of course, right, that they wouldn't even help them when they need something for the coronavirus. As a woman, like, I can't imagine how I would feel after they take away my ability to give birth, after they take away my fertility, right? It's kind of like hard to like imagine that, and it's something that's real. It's something that's actually happening right now, and it's happening under the United States government facilities, right? And the way they justify it is that, you know, they shouldn't have tried crossing the border. You know, if they wouldn't have tried crossing the border illegally, as they say, then they wouldn't have to get their uteruses removed. If they didn't cross the border illegally, then their children wouldn't probably die at the hands of the United States government. If they didn't cross the border, then they wouldn't risk being raped by ICE employees, right? Whoever thinks that way, honestly, I think that there's something mentally wrong with them. I don't know if they're like necessarily mentally ill. I would want to say compassion and empathy, but I think that that's not enough. You know, they're lacking something else. Like, there have been times where I felt like I want to just like call them demons or like sent straight from the devil, but then like there's no way to prove it at all. And it could sound a little bit too extreme, but they lack humane empathy, in a sense, like the ability to care for other humans. That's what they lack. So then the article goes on to say, the Georgia Detention Watch, the Georgia Latino Alliance for Human Rights and South Georgia Immigrant Support Network filed the complaint on behalf of detained immigrants and Ms. Wooden. The complaint has been filed with the watchdog that oversees the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, which is responsible for ICE. According to campaigners, there are between 500 and 800 individuals at the center currently, where bed capacity is 1,200. In statements released on Monday, ICE said it was taking the allegations seriously and was firmly committed to the safety and welfare of all those. Okay, they're full of shit. ICE is full of shit. Anything that ICE says is full of shit. And the reason I say that is because they're not transparent. You know, as somebody that, you know, really suffers with the immigrant community, I feel that, you know, we don't have any kind of videos or footage or anything to, you know, be 100% sure about what is going on in those facilities, how these people are actually dying. We only get these little reports, like, you know, obviously a white piece of paper with some like black stuff printed on it, black letters printed on it to make words up. But anyway, I'm being too detailed about something so small, but like that's really how it feels. Like, you know, let's say a loved one of mine is somewhere in a facility, and I know that, you know, we're going through COVID right now, and then this loved one of mine died yesterday, let's say, right? And then I wouldn't get a report until later, and then in that report I'll only see like bulletins of what happened. So like, for example, like if you go right here to the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement website, and let's say like the loved one of mine was this guy, Guillen Vega Jose Freddy, and so then all you get is this, right? This kind of stuff, right? Like date of birth, you know, the age, etc., immigration history, like whatever they have documented here, criminal history, right? And then the medical history, and then this is basically what I'll get, right? Whatever ICE feels that they feel comfortable with releasing, that's what we will get. Basically, like for example, whatever happened to George Floyd, right? Now I'm just speaking on my behalf, and what I have heard from other people that can relate to me is that, not that we would want any of our loved ones to die the way George Floyd died, and not that we would enjoy watching it through a video, but we would be sure about how the person died, how our loved ones are dying. We would be more sure about how that process goes and what happened, right? I wish that we had those footages. I wish that we could see exactly what happens in those ICE facilities. And the fact that we cannot see what is going on, I feel oppresses our voices even more, because we don't have to show to the world that what is going on inside these ICE facilities are inhumane. Like, let's say a loved one of mine died like George Floyd, for example, right? I would want the whole world to see it if it happened inside an ICE facility. And the reason I say that is because then I feel people would really understand why ICE is not something that can be justified in the United States of America or anywhere in the world. Because I feel that a lot of us that are ignorant to what is going on in these ICE facilities are more easy to convince that, you know, having these ICE facilities treat humans worse than dogs is justifiable. I'm gonna show you this other thing. So basically, the hysterectomy doctor wasn't even a board certified OB-GYN, right? And right here you see people like protesting and standing up for our folks. The doctor at the center of a scandal over unwanted hysterectomies at an immigrant detention facility in Georgia is not a board certified OB-GYN, the Daily Beast has learned. Dr. Mahendra Amin came under scrutiny after immigrant rights groups issued a report accusing him of conducting unnecessary or unwanted gynecological procedures on women detained in the Irwin County Detention Center in Ocala, Georgia. On Friday, a spokesperson for the American Board of again, another big word, obstetrics and gynecology told the Daily Beast that his records show Amin is not certified by the organization. A spokesperson for the American Board of Medical Specialties, the leading organization for physician board certification in the U.S., said Amin was not certified by any of the 24 ABM member boards. Okay. So not only are they removing the uteruses of these women, but we are having uncertified doctors that are not specialized in the kind of procedures that they are doing. Like, what really frustrates me as a Hispanic woman, I feel like our Latino community is very divided. There's a lot of Hispanics that are going to vote for Trump, which is very disappointing. And then there's also a lot of Latinos that are not on board with many Latinos that are more on the left side of politics, if that makes sense. I am first generation Mexican American, and a lot of my friends are as well. First generation Central American, first generation, and other kinds of, backgrounds. And let me remove these headphones. I noticed that a lot of and I'm not generalizing, right? I'm just saying that many of the second and third generation Hispanics, right? They identify as Latino and stuff like that, but they're so out of touch with the struggles that first generation and just immigrants from different countries, including undocumented immigrants from other countries that come into the United States, have to deal with when they come here as an immigrant that's not welcomed. And basically what I mean by that, it's European immigrants are way more welcomed in the United States than Mexican immigrants. And today is September 21. I want to mention this man that died today in the ICE facility. His name was Capriano Chavez Alvarez, 61 years old, a Mexican national who had been held at the Stewart Detention Center near Lumpkin, Georgia. Died on September 21, 2020 in a Columbus hospital. So his was the third COVID-19 death at the facility this year. Okay, so if you keep looking down this list, you'll see they're Hispanics, right? For example, this is a list of deaths that have happened in ICE facilities. So American Immigration Lawyers Association is collecting their own data. Right here we have, so today a Mexican died, right? September 1st, a Honduran died. August 12th, a Costa Rican died, right? August 7th, a Canadian died. And then August 6th, a Taiwanese person died. Not like that, but there they go. July 16th, his name was Luis Sanchez Perez. Where's he? Guatemalan, right? He was Guatemalan. July 13th, a 51-year-old Mexican died. Name was Perez Mantufa. May 24, 2020, Santiago Batten Oxlash died, 34 years old, from Guatemala. And here's another person from South Korea. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's right here, 74 years old. Here's another one, right? So I remember when I talk about these issues, I have these friends that are they'll make it all about Hispanics and stuff like that when it comes to immigration. And I agree, it's not all just, Hispanics or Mexicans or Central American. But when you look at the population of how many people, what is the population of Latinos in ICE facilities? So, okay, so right here, the American Immigration Council.org says that, I'm gonna read this bulletin right here. It says, Mexican nationals by themselves made up about 43% of the detainee population, and individuals from the Northern Triangle region of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras made up about 46% of the detainee population. So it's kind of switching a little, but back then it used to be more Mexican than Central American. But anyway, the whole point is that Mexican, Central American, they're both Latino, right? Hispanic, what is it? Latinx? I don't know anymore. I'm just trying to keep up with the times, right? But yeah, so and then 89% is Latino. Yeah. You can see that, right? Yeah, so basically that's what I mean. Sorry you guys, I laugh all the time because I'm very, I don't know, an anxious person, and I'm not that comfortable in the camera. But yeah, this is data from December 5, 2018. I'll look for something more recent if you guys want next time. But where was I at, y'all? I'm almost done. Here's another article on this, and it basically says that Georgia's doctor who forcibly sterilized detained women has been identified, right? Wow, that image. Under the Trump administration, reproductive injustice has run rampant inside the federal immigration system, stretching far beyond the family separation policy at the border. A complaint filed yesterday sheds light on the new atrocity. Women detained at the Irwin County Detention Center, ICDC in Georgia, have allegedly been sterilized without their consent. The attorneys behind the lawsuit would not confirm the identity of the doctor referenced in the complaint, but PRISM has learned, according to a source familiar with the situation, is gynecologist. So it's the same name, right? Mahindra Amin. She's uncertified. Based in Douglas, Georgia. The doctor, also an immigrant, is affiliated with Coffee Regional Medical Center and Irwin County Hospital, Georgia. I hate this, right? The doctor is also an immigrant, bro. There's some immigrants that come into this country and they try to assimilate so much into being American that they would turn their own back to other immigrants that are currently not as privileged as they are, right? And that's really disappointing. It's heartbreaking because you would think they would have more compassion than Americans, but really, like, I feel like you don't need to be an immigrant to be compassionate towards other immigrants. You just got to be humane, right? And we're living in a time where, like, there's a lot of like racism and like hate. This little part right here kind of reminded me of, like, there'll be some white people there'll be some white people, right? There'll be some white people that are more on my side than other Latinos. And I'm for real. I'm serious. There'll be some white people protesting out there, right? For Dijon Kinsey, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, right now, right? And then there'll also be some of my Hispanic people, right? At a Trump rally, right? So it's like, what is going to help us the most right now is finding that common ground, right? And like unifying. We need to unify with all kinds of people, right? Like white people, black people and Mexicans and people from Asia and other parts of the world, right? We all need to come together if we believe in humane values and humanity, humanitarian causes, humanitarian social justice. We need to get together. And so I'm going to end this whole video. Sorry, this was a very slow video. I'm pretty tired today, y'all. But I wanted to make a video today because I was studying so hard. And I'm like, I need a break. And I thought that maybe if I make a video, I'll feel better. Maybe. Let's see what this lady says. So this lady, we're going to go over some tweets, right? This lady says, a whistleblower at ICE today exposed that mass hysterectomies are being performed on detained immigrants. If it sounds like a horror show, that's because it is. Gender oppression, right? This is something I really wanted to talk about, but like she honed it in, right? Gender oppression has a direct correlation with authoritarianism. I like that. And it's so true, right? That's literally how I felt, but like I couldn't put it into the right words. So shout out to this lady. She did a good job. So this lady said, this is certainly not the first time this country has used forced sterilization as a weapon of control against different communities. Lots of history below. We can absolutely make it the last, right? So she put this article out here and it says, unwanted sterilization and eugenics programs in the United States. Forced sterilization is a shameful part of history, and one doesn't have to go too far back to find examples of it. Used as a means of controlling undesirable populations. This is kind of like another thing I want to say, right? Like, people are like, well, why, what are the main reasons? Like, why hysterectomies, right? And yeah, it's like, I was thinking the first time I saw that, I was thinking like, they want to take away our baby making abilities, right? That's like the first thing I thought, like they're trying to take away our baby making abilities. And then I posted this thing on my Instagram. Let me show it to you guys. This is the one that really scared me. Hold on, y'all. This. So there's this thing happening right now where there's uterus transplants happening. And there was this article called Second Woman Gives Birth After Uterus Transplant at Cleveland. And so there's like people speculating, right, that these uteruses that are getting removed could be going to these other more privileged women that don't have a healthy uterus to be fertile. And I mean, we're not really wrong to think that, right? Like, it's a possibility, And so it continues to say, immigrants, people of color, poor people, and married mothers, the disabled, the mentally ill, federally funded sterilization programs took place in 32 states throughout the 20th century, driven by prejudiced notions of science and social control. These programs enforce policies on immigration and segregation. So let me see if I can find it for you guys. So beginning in 1909 and continuing for 7 years, California led the country in the number of sterilization procedures performed on men and women, often without their full knowledge and consent. Approximately 20,000 sterilizations took place in state institutions, comprising 1/3 of the total number performed in the 32 states where such actions was legal. And this was from the UC Santa Barbara Current. So eugenics was a commonly accepted means of protecting society from the offspring, and therefore equally suspect of those individuals deemed inferior or dangerous: the poor, the disabled, the mentally ill, criminals, and people of color. Okay, deemed inferior or dangerous, right? Kind of like the way Trump always says, like, they're dangerous. So thanks for watching. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I basically said probably more than I wanted to say. Of course, I can't speak for every single Latino in this country, but I'm speaking for the ones that really resonate with what I'm saying here. If you are someone that is interested in making a podcast, hit me up. My Instagram is nocturnal@nocturnalessie. I'm willing to do like a virtual podcast or anything, whatever part of the world you're from. And if you want to talk about something, just hit me up. And thanks for watching my channel. This is Broke Girl Media.